Hello. In today's video, we are going to talk about one of the greatest illusions of our existence, the idea of success. We are going to dive into philosophy to deconstruct what we have been taught to desire and discover why, even after achieving everything the world demands, so many of us still feel an emptiness that is impossible to fill. We live in an era that has transformed personal fulfillment into an assembly line. Success has become a product that you buy, display, and discard. But what if I told you that what we call winning at life is often just a sophisticated form of mental slavery? If you are tired of chasing goals that aren't yours, this video is your breaking point. Before we begin this journey of deconstruction, if you seek to live with more depth and fewer appearances, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your presence here strengthens our search for a wisdom that money cannot buy. Now, clear your mind of everything you think you know about being successful. Let's look at the facts. The deconstruction of modern success. Modern society has committed a crime against your subjectivity. It has turned success into a commodity. Today, achievement is not measured by the quality of your character or the depth of your thoughts, but by a standardized shopping list. Cars, executive titles, social status, and follower counts. We have been conditioned to believe that if we check these boxes, we will finally be happy. The problem is that the market does not want you to be happy, it wants you to be an eternal consumer of new goals. This is where the brutal critique of Arthur Schopenhauer comes in. He taught us that the human will is like a bottomless pit. We desire something with desperate hunger, but as soon as the object is conquered, the pleasure vanishes in the matter of moments. What remains is not peace, but an unbearable boredom, which immediately pushes us toward the next desire. It is the cycle of frustration. The pain of deprivation is replaced by the emptiness of conquest. You aren't winning the game, you are just changing the level of your dissatisfaction. This infinite cycle is what many call the rat race. It is the bitter realization that we are running on a treadmill, wasting vital energy to get nowhere. We work jobs we hate to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't love. The system is designed so that you never feel enough. If you stop to breathe, the system collapses. That is why the pressure to be successful never ends. It simply shifts to the next target. If you feel like your life has become a succession of soulless tasks, know that this is not a mistake of your fate. It is the direct result of following the wrong manual. Modern success is a brilliant storefront hiding an empty shelf. Understanding this is the first step towards true freedom. It is not about having nothing, but about not being possessed by anything you have. True victory begins when you decide that you no longer have anything to prove to anyone. The classical vision, success as eudaimonia. To escape the trap of success as a commodity, we must travel back in time and look at what the ancient Greeks called eudaimonia. Phonetic is eudaimonia. Often translated as happiness, eudaimonia is actually something much deeper. It is the flourishing of the soul. For Aristotle, success was not an isolated event like winning a medal or accumulating gold coins. Success was an activity. It was the constant practice of virtue and the pursuit of excellence in everything we do. Imagine a seed that becomes a robust tree. It succeeded not because it gained something external, but because it realized its full internal potential. Often we seek success so that people will admire us, but Aristotle reminds us that true fulfillment is internal and unshakable. Being a person of character, acting with justice, courage, and temperance is the only type of success that no one can steal from you. If your metric of victory depends on the approval of others or the fluctuations of the financial market, you are a slave of circumstances. But if your success is defined by the quality of your conduct, you become the master of your own destiny. It is the difference between seeming successful and actually being an excellent human being. Another fundamental pillar of the classical vision is the concept of telos, or purpose. Aristotle believed that everything in the universe has a specific end or purpose. A knife succeeds when it cuts well. An eye succeeds when it sees clearly. And what about you? What is your telos? Modern success tries to convince you that your purpose is to serve consumption or to climb a generic corporate ladder. But philosophy invites you to look within and ask, what was I made for? True success happens when you align your natural abilities with a function that contributes to the world. Discovering your telos requires brutal honesty. It means stopping what the world wants from you and starting to cultivate your own inclinations. Success is not about reaching the top of any mountain, but about reaching the top of the mountain you were meant to climb. When you live according to your nature and seek excellence in the small actions of daily life, the anxiety over the final result disappears. You stop living for the destination and start finding success in the journey itself. Excellence, after all, is not an act, but a habit. Stoicism, success in unshakability. If the classical vision gave us purpose, Stoicism gives us armor. For the Stoics, such as Epictetus and Seneca, the greatest cause of our distress is that we base our idea of success on things we do not control. We want the promotion, we want the prize, we want the wealth. But all these things can be taken from us in the blink of an eye by an economic crisis, a change in leadership, or a stroke of bad luck. Stoicism proposes a radical inversion. True success does not lie in what happens to you, but in your unshakability in the face of what happens. It is the victory of the mind over circumstances. To understand this, consider the famous dichotomy of control. Imagine an archer trying to hit a target. He can choose the best bow, train his muscles for years, and wait for the exact moment when the wind dies down. All of this is under his control. But in the millisecond the arrow leaves the string, success no longer belongs to him. A sudden gust of wind or a bird crossing the path can deflect the shot. To the ordinary archer, this is a failure. To the Stoic archer, success was achieved the moment he made the best shot possible. The target is merely an external detail. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, ruled the Roman Empire under pressure that few could endure. Yet, in his personal writings, he never speaks of success as the expansion of borders or the accumulation of treasures. For the emperor, success was keeping the inner citadel intact. It was the ability to face betrayals, plagues, and wars without allowing his soul to be corrupted by hatred or despair. He understood that the world can take your throne, but no one can take your ability to act with justice and reason. This is what the Stoics call virtue, and to them, virtue is the only prize that matters. When you adopt this mindset, the fear of failure dies. If your concept of success is doing my best with the tools I have right now, then you can be successful every single day regardless of external results. You stop being a hostage to luck and start being a master of your own will. Success ceases to be an anxious destination in the future and becomes a calm presence in the present. In the Stoic view, the successful person is not the one who goes the farthest, but the one who remains whole and at peace, no matter how far life carries them.
Nietzsche and the overcoming of oneself. If the Stoics taught us to accept the world, Friedrich Nietzsche invites us to set it on fire so that we can build something new. For Nietzsche, the concept of success held by the majority is merely a herd morality. He believed that society tries to level everyone down, defining success as security, comfort, and obedience to pre-established values. But true success, for Nietzsche, is not about being comfortable. It is the will to power. It is the vital force that drives us to grow, to overcome our limits, and to become something greater than we were yesterday. Success is not a state of rest, but a continuous process of self-overcoming. One of the pillars of this journey is the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate. Nietzschean success is not just about enduring what life brings, but loving every detail of your existence, the pains, the failures, the betrayals, and the victories, with such intensity that you would wish to live it all again infinite times. Someone who has achieved material success but complains about their past is not, for Nietzsche, a winner. The true victor is the one who looks at their own scars and says, I chose this. I transformed this suffering into power. It is converting chance into necessity through the strength of will. Nietzsche also challenges us to create our own values. He realized that most people pursue success to meet the expectations of modern gods, whether it be the state, religion, or social media trends. But the superior man, the Übermensch, is the one who has the courage to kill these idols and define his own metrics of victory. If your success looks like a failure to the crowd, but makes sense to your own power, then you have won. The criterion is not external approval, but the internal sensation of expansion and strength. Therefore, Nietzsche's success is a solitary walk toward the summit of oneself. It is the effort of sculpting one's own life as a work of art. He reminds us that what does not kill us makes us stronger, and this strength is the only real success that exists. It is not about being better than others, but about being better than your previous self. When you stop asking the world for permission to be who you are, you achieve the purest form of success, absolute sovereignty over your own existence. Success in being versus having. After journeying through the Greek virtue, Stoic calm, and Nietzschean strength, we reach the most challenging point of our journey, the existentialism of Jean-Paul Sartre. For Sartre, existence precedes essence. This means you were not born with a ready-made purpose. There is no destiny written in the stars that defines whether you are a success or a failure. You are essentially an empty project that builds itself through its choices. Therefore, the distinction between being and having is not just a catchy phrase, it is the very foundation of your freedom. Many people live in what Sartre called bad faith, mauvaise foi. They adopt society's concept of success as if it were a natural law, an absolute truth. They say, I need to be rich to be someone, or I need this title to have value. By doing this, they flee the agonizing responsibility of defining their own lives. They prefer to be an object molded by the world rather than a subject who molds themselves. Success based on having is an attempt to fill the void of existence with objects and titles. But since this void is part of the human condition, no possession will ever be enough. Authentic success, therefore, resides in being. It is the commitment to act with freedom and to take total responsibility for who you become. If you decide that your success is being a poor artist who remains faithful to your vision, you are more successful than a millionaire who hates his own reflection in the mirror. Bad faith is believing that you had no choice. Existentialism confronts you with the naked truth. You are free to redefine what success is at any moment. Success is not something you achieve and lock in a vault. It is a choice renewed every single morning. If life has no predefined meaning, this is not a reason for despair, but for celebration. You are the author, the director, and the protagonist of your own play. Success ceases to be an external pressure and becomes an expression of your inner truth. When you stop trying to have the evidence of success for others and start being the definition of value for yourself, anxiety transforms into power. You are not what the world made of you, but what you do with what the world made of you. After traveling through the centuries via the thoughts of history's greatest philosophers, one thing becomes clear. Success, as it has been sold to us, is a commodity designed to keep us moving, but never at peace. If you've made it this far, you already understand that true achievement is not the accumulation of things, but the conquest of oneself. It is the balance between the flourishing of your soul, the acceptance of what you cannot control, and the courage to be the sole author of your own story. The new manual for success is not a list of goals for next year. It is an invitation to essentialism. It is the understanding that to grow in depth, you must reduce in width. The silent success, the kind that happens when no one is watching, Your integrity, your ability to be present for those you love, and your peace of mind when you lay your head on the pillow is in the end the only victory that truly matters. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the voice of your own excellence. From today on, change your yardstick. Stop comparing yourself to others' highlight reels and start comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. If you acted with virtue, if you overcame a fear, and if you remained authentic, you have already won. Success is not an anxious destination always sitting in the future. It is a calm presence that you cultivate now, in this very moment, by deciding how you will respond to life. If this video brought clarity to your journey and helped you see beyond modern illusions, leave a comment below. Which of these philosophies resonated most with you today? Share this content with someone who needs to stop running the rat race and start walking their own path. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so that we can continue exploring the depths of the human mind together. Stay focused on what is essential. Choose wisely. And remember, peace is not the prize for success. It is success.